Hi, my name is Kara Crane, and this is my persuasive speech. In 40 years, some scientists warned that most of our coastlines could be underwater. Thousands of species of plants and animals could become extinct, and our own food sources could be compromised. The world is ending, right? As plastic clogs our oceans and carbon dioxide floods our atmosphere, climate change can be terrifying. Just like some of you, I've grown tired of this pessimistic view of the world. It seems like every time you turn on the TV, there's a new timeline for the apocalypse. This fear-mongering can be enough to make people want to throw out the idea of climate change altogether. Climate change is scary, but it's also solvable. Today, I will prove to you that although human-caused climate change is the reality, we are not hopelessly careening towards destruction. The US government should invest more money into green energy sources such as nuclear power, and subsidize alternative forms of car fuel, as well as public transportation, allowing us to combat the effects of climate change. Climate change is real and could detrimentally affect our world. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, rising sea levels threatens coastal communities and ecosystems. Changing ecosystems influence geographic ranges of many plant and animal species and the timing of their lifestyle events, such as migration and reproduction. If climate change were to worsen, rising sea levels would throw off the entire ecosystem. Coastal cities would be flooded, and world agriculture could never be the same. It may not sound very dangerous, but even incremental changes in global climate can throw off so many of our livelihoods. The NOAA writes, a warmer atmosphere has had a greater capacity to hold water vapor. Consequently, climate models project that global warming will tend to cause wet regions to get wetter and dry regions to get drier. In the east and northwestern U.S., an increase has been observed in heavy downpours of rain, resulting in flash flooding, loss of life, and damages to property and infrastructure. As the global climate shifts, we will face greater amounts of natural disasters. We will have to adapt to a shifting world, one that none of us are fully prepared to encounter. Obviously, the potential results from climate change are things that none of us want to face. Why is climate change even changing? One of the factors contributing to global warming is the increase of emissions of greenhouse gases. According to NASA, scientists attribute the global warming trend observed since the mid-20th century to the human expansion of the greenhouse effect, warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth towards space. When more greenhouse gases, which include methane and carbon dioxide, are produced, the warming effect worsens. The greenhouse effect is a widely observed phenomenon that most scientists have a consensus on. The modern industrial world's reliance on actions that result in pollution is leading to an overly insulated Earth. There is no doubt that these unfortunate effects of climate change are rooted in human action. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, scientists have pieced together a record of the Earth's climate by analyzing a number of indirect measures such as ice cores, tree rings, glacier lengths, pollen remains, and ocean sediments, and by studying changes in the Earth's orbit around the sun. This record shows that the climate varies naturally over a wide range of timescales, but this variability does not explain the observed global warming since the 1950s. Rather, it is extremely likely that human activities have been the dominant cause of that warming. Not only is the change in climate definitive, but it is too rapid to be the result of natural causes. Humans are causing climate change by constantly emitting pollutants and greenhouse gases. But since climate change is human-caused, that also means it can be human-solved. There are many viable alternatives to actions that cause pollution. For example, the US government could fund a shift from coal-powered energy to cleaner sources like nuclear power. The International Atomic Energy Agency writes, nuclear power is a low-carbon source of energy. In 2018, nuclear power produced about 10% of the world's electricity. Together with the expanding renewable energy sources and fuel switching from coal to gas, higher nuclear power production contributed to the leveling of global carbon dioxide emissions at 33 gigatons in 2019. With a switch from coal-powered energy to cleaner sources such as nuclear power, carbon emissions would be reduced. Lower levels of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide will slow the effects of climate change, allowing us to have a brighter future. The US government should invest money into infrastructure that can facilitate this energy switch. Another factor that contributes to greenhouse gases is car emissions. To reduce these pollutants, the US government should invest in cleaner car fuel and fund public transportation, which will allow for less cars to be on the road at all, and reducing the emissions of the number of cars that remain. According to the US Department of Energy, highway vehicles release about 1.4 billion tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere each year, contributing to the global climate change. You can only reduce carbon emissions by choosing a car with better gas mileage, purchasing green power for your electric vehicle or plug-in hybrid, walking, biking, or taking public transport more often. If the US government were to invest more money into public transportation and subsidize fuel sources other than gas, like the hydrogen fuel cell or electric cars, our dependence on gasoline-powered cars would be reduced. This would slow the emission of greenhouse gases, preventing the catastrophe of climate change. In conclusion, climate change is not hopeless. If we advocate for the US government to invest more money into green energy and fuel, we can change what is happening to our world. As emissions of greenhouse gases slow, climate change will slow too. This means the effects of those changes will not be so drastic. The world is far from the hopelessness that you see on your TV. We can all take personal steps to combat climate change, and we can advocate for our government to take even bigger steps. There are so many solutions out there, and our future is far from hopeless. Thank you very much.